While I was on a mission in Syria, dodging mortar fire and writing letters home between patrols, my wife Madison was busy redecorating her life. That's how she later described it. A month before I came back, she left a voicemail. I need a man with a future, not someone digging trenches. She didn't even have the guts to say it live. That message played in my ear as I stood on the tarmac, dust still on my boots, duffel still strapped to my shoulder. 10 years passed. I rebuilt everything from nothing. Name's Tyler Bennett. I went from broke, divorced ex-military to founder of one of the fastest rising security firms in the country. I never looked back. Not until last night. Our college reunion. A decade since we all stood in caps and gowns pretending we knew who we were going to be. It was held at the old campus ballroom. Fancy chandeliers, free champagne, people pretending like their lives didn't suck. I walked in, suit tailored, watch gleaming, the kind of entrance you don't plan, but destiny does for you. Madison was already there. Same bleached smile, same manipulative eyes, but older. Standing next to some mid-level banker who looked like he cried during job evaluations. She laughed a bit too loudly, like she was trying to be seen. She hadn't seen me yet, but the room had. It was like oxygen got sucked out. Conversations died mid-sentence. Forks froze halfway to mouths. All eyes on me. The nobody from back then, the ghost who got dumped over a voicemail, now looked like the guy they read about in Forbes. And there she was, my ex-wife, slowly turning her head, confused at first, then shocked. Then, as she smiled, I expected disgust. I expected fear. I got charm. Tyler, she purred, stepping closer like we'd just bumped into each other at Whole Foods. Wow, you look incredible. I didn't say a word, just stared at her hand as she reached to touch my arm like she had the right. The room watched like it was a damn movie. She laughed nervously. You always were full of surprises. Oh, I had surprises, all right. I wasn't there for nostalgia. I wasn't there to impress. I was there because I got a call 2 days ago from her ex-best friend, Erica. Erica had never liked me much. But people change when karma knocks. She told me things I never wanted to know. Things that happened while I was in uniform, bleeding for a flag that she used as a prop for her Facebook posts. While I was in dirt-stained fatigues, Madison was posting beach selfies. In the arms of her boss. A 52-year-old married real estate guy named Doug. And it wasn't just once. Erica told me everything. The private hotel weekends. The spa retreats booked for her mental health. Doug had even come to our house, my house, when I was deployed. Slept in our bed. The same bed she used to kiss me goodnight from over FaceTime. You've got no idea what she's done, Erica had said. And she'll try to weasel her way back in. I think she knows you made it. Be careful, Tyler. She wasn't wrong. That night, Madison found her way to me like a magnet, dragging that pathetic boyfriend along. His name was Sean. Soft handshake. Fragile ego. This is Sean, she said with a sugar-sweet smile. My partner. Sean reached out. Pleasure, man. Maddie told me so much about you. I took his hand. Firm. Controlled. Looked him in the eye. Funny. She told me almost nothing about you. Sean blinked. Madison's smile flickered, just for a second. You always had that dry wit. I leaned in slightly, voice low. And you always had that fake loyalty. She stiffened. Can we talk in private? I'd rather not. I replied, turning to leave. She grabbed my sleeve. Tyler, wait. You don't understand. I pulled back sharply. No, you don't understand. You threw away a man with fire in his lungs for a guy who sells condos. You picked shallow over solid. That chapter's over. I'm not here to fight. I'm just here to let you see what you lost. I walked out to the balcony. Needed air. My phone buzzed. A text from Erica. She's already asking around about your money. Told someone you owed her. Told them she made you. This was only the beginning. The worst betrayals don't happen with screaming or slamming doors. They happen in silence, subtle shifts, long pauses, unanswered calls. I didn't lose Madison in one moment. I lost her in pieces. It started 2 months before I left for Syria. She was distracted, short-tempered. Her hugs were stiff, like she was clocking out of some performance. One night, she didn't even flinch when I said I might not come back. Just looked down at her phone and said, "Can you take the trash out before you leave tomorrow?" But I was blind. Love will do that, especially when you're busy surviving deserts and bullets for people back home who don't give a damn. The real discovery didn't happen until years later. After the reunion, I couldn't let it rest. Erica's words played in my head like a haunting. You've got no idea what she's done. I had to know. Not because I still loved her, I didn't. But because I needed truth. Closure. Something to burn down the lies. I still had access to an old shared cloud account, leftover from when we were married. She probably forgot about it. I didn't. I logged in. There were photos. Dozens. Some harmless. Her smiling at brunch, walking with friends. But then came the folder named SBA Weekends. That's what she called them when she texted me overseas. Taking some time for myself, babe. You understand, right? I'll FaceTime you Sunday. Inside were images that made my stomach twist. A hotel bed with petals. Champagne glasses. Madison in a red robe. And beside her, Doug. Gray-haired. Shirtless. Holding her like she was his damn trophy. And then came the worst part, videos. Short clips of them kissing. Her giggling. Her whispering things that used to be mine. One video had her looking straight into the camera, saying, I love this. It feels real. I paused it there. Real? What did she think I was? A hologram? The timestamps showed it was during my last deployment. While I was writing her letters about how scared I was that I wouldn't make it home, she was whispering sweet lies into a real estate broker's ear. But it didn't stop there. Another file. This one was a Word document. Titled, Divorce Draft. It was dated 2 weeks before I even left the country. Inside, her plan. She'd been meeting with a lawyer. She wanted to take the house. The savings. My old truck. She even wrote this line. I deserve compensation for years spent being a military wife. I supported him. Supported? She never even sent me a care package. That night, I sat in the dark with those files on my screen. The room was cold. Quiet. Just me, the hum of my laptop, and the weight of betrayal pressing on my chest like a damn cinder block. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, clenching my jaw until it hurt. You know what it feels like when the world shifts under your feet? Like a floor you trusted just collapsed? That was me. I sent one email. To myself. Subject line, proof. Attached all the files. Then I logged out. Not to forget, but to remember everything clearly. Because when someone tries to smile at you years later like nothing happened, you better hold the receipts that I didn't plan it. That's the thing with confrontation. It creeps up on you. You think you'll wait for the perfect moment, some dramatic setup where you corner them and drop the truth like a bomb. But real life doesn't give you that clean setup. I saw her again 3 days after the reunion. She showed up at my office. Uninvited. I was reviewing a security contract with my assistant when the intercom buzzed. Mr. Bennett, there's a Madison here to see you. Should I? I cut her off. Send her in. But closed the door behind her. Madison walked in like she owned the place, like she hadn't been caught on camera years ago wrapped in someone else's sheets. Hair done. Heels sharp. Designer bag in hand. Fake confidence in her step. Nice place, she said, eyes sweeping the office like she was imagining herself back in it. I didn't offer her a seat. I stayed standing. She shifted. Tyler, I just wanted to talk. I feel like our last conversation. Our last conversation? I cut in, calm but ice cold. You mean the one where you pretended we were old friends and not ex-spouses? Or are we talking about the one where you ghosted me from an ocean away while I was in uniform? Her face twitched. I didn't ghost you. That's not fair. Oh no. I walked to my desk, clicked a key, and turned the monitor so she could see it. The folder was open. Spa weekends. Divorce draft. All there. Her face drained color. You still had access? She whispered. I still had a memory, I said flatly. Something you clearly lack. She took a shaky breath. It wasn't like that. You don't understand what I was going through. No. I snapped, stepping toward her. You don't get to pull the what I was going through card. I was sleeping in a tent with rats. Getting mortared while you were sipping champagne on silk sheets. Her jaw clenched. You were gone, Tyler. All the time. I was alone. I was at war, Madison. Her voice went up. And I was stuck being a trophy wife to a guy who could die any day. Do you know what kind of fear that brings? I stared at her. You weren't afraid. You were bored. Silence. She looked away. I stepped back, calmer now. Cold as stone. Tell me it was worth it. All of it. Doug. The lies. The voicemail. She blinked fast. Doug was a mistake. No. I said quiet. I was your mistake. Because I believed you. She opened her mouth again, and I held up a hand. Spare me. I'm not here for apologies. I just wanted you to know, I know. Every lie. Every name. Every file. I kept it all. Her confidence cracked. "What are you going to do?" she asked. "Nothing," I said. "You already did everything for me." I walked past her, opened the door. "You can go now? But before you do, here's something you should hear." She stopped at the doorway. I looked her dead in the eye. "You didn't leave me for someone better. You left me for someone easier. That's not an upgrade. That's cowardice." She didn't reply, just walked out. No click of heels this time. Just silence. I closed the door and sat down, finally breathing. The confrontation didn't give me peace, but it gave me power. She didn't win. She never had me. She only borrowed a version of me I no longer am. After Madison walked out of my office, the silence she left behind didn't feel like peace. It felt like aftermath. You know that eerie stillness after a car crash, when the glass has stopped breaking, but your heart's still catching up? That's what betrayal feels like. I went home that night and sat on the floor of my apartment. Didn't turn on the lights. Just leaned against the wall and let everything pour out. You think you're prepared for pain when you've seen what I've seen. Combat, blood, loss. But betrayal from someone you trusted? That cuts through bone. I kept seeing her face from that day she left me. The coldness in her voice. I need a man with a future, not someone digging trenches. At first, I was angry. Fury that burned so hot I could barely sit still. I wanted to smash something. Punch walls. Find Doug and give him a reason to rethink ever touching another man's wife. But rage is just the top layer. Underneath was something worse, shame. Not because of what she did, because I let it happen. I ignored the signs. The late-night texts she swore were just friends. The extra gym sessions. The sudden taste for expensive lingerie. I told myself she was just exploring herself. Finding confidence. Nah, she was just practicing for another man. And I believed her. Like a fool. I replayed everything. Every moment we ever had. The vacations. The holidays. Even the way she used to run her fingers through my hair when I couldn't sleep. It all felt fake now. Like I'd been living in a film where she was the actress, and I was the only one who thought it was real. I started questioning my worth. If she could lie to me that easily, what did that say about me? Was I that replaceable? Was I ever enough? The worst part wasn't that she cheated. It was that she planned it. Wrote up a divorce draft like it was a business strategy. Scheduled betrayal like a damn meeting. I wasn't even a person to her. Just a phase she outgrew. And yet, part of me still missed her. That's the cruelest trick of the heart. You miss someone who destroyed you, not because they deserve it, but because your memories haven't caught up with reality. I had to sit with that pain, feel every ounce of it. The humiliation, the abandonment, the disbelief. It's like grief, except no one died. Just the person you thought existed. For weeks, I couldn't focus. Everywhere I looked, I saw her. I'd open the fridge and remember how she liked her smoothies. I'd hear a song in the car and get sucker punched by a memory of her singing along, out of tune, laughing. I hated it. I hated that someone so careless with my heart still lived in my head. But pain has a purpose, if you let it. It either breaks you or rebuilds you. I chose the latter. I started training harder. Not just my body, my mind. Cut off every toxic tie. Deleted old photos. Canceled our shared storage. Got a new phone. I even changed my lock screen from a mountain range she once said reminded her of me, to a quote that reminded me of me. Forgive yourself for not knowing what you didn't know before you learned it. I wasn't the man I used to be. But maybe that wasn't a bad thing. Maybe that man had to be broken so someone stronger could emerge. That night, I stood on my balcony, whiskey in hand, and made myself a promise. She took a match to my past, but I'd use the fire to forge my future. You don't wake up one day suddenly healed. Pain lingers. Betrayal lingers longer. But there comes a point, usually late at night, when it's quiet and the ache isn't as sharp, when you realize something simple but powerful. You have a choice. And I made mine. No more looking back. No more giving energy to someone who wouldn't even give me honesty. No more half-truths. No more what-ifs. No more secretly hoping she'd show up crying, confessing it was all a mistake. I wanted clarity, not closure, because closure is a myth sold by cowards who don't want to admit the chapter ended with a gunshot instead of a goodbye. So I made a decision. I wasn't going to let Madison exist in my life as a ghost, haunting everything I built just because I once loved her. I called my lawyer. We had officially divorced on paper years ago, but some loose threads still lingered, shared accounts, business paperwork from the time she pretended to help with my startup, even some stock options she tried to claim credit for. My lawyer, Don, Had been waiting for this call. Told you she'd try to weasel back in, he muttered. Cut her out of everything, I said. And we did. I changed all the locks, literal and metaphorical. Blocked her number. Removed her from the few remaining documents she'd tied herself to. Rewrote company bylaws. And I made damn sure my business had one name on it, mine. But that wasn't the only decision I had to make. There was something else. Something deeper. I had to decide what kind of man I wanted to be moving forward. Betrayal can twist you. Make you bitter. Vengeful. I didn't want to become one of those guys who turned every conversation into women are all the same. That wasn't me. That wasn't the soldier who used to write poetry in a journal under desert skies. I started seeing a therapist. Quietly. No big declarations. Just walked in one afternoon and said, I think I need help letting go of someone who lied like it was breathing. That therapist, her name was Dr. Callahan, she didn't coddle me. She didn't feed me platitudes. She made me work, asked the hard questions, forced me to look at where I'd ignored red flags, how I let love override self-respect, how I thought sacrifice meant accepting disrespect. The more I unraveled, the more I rebuilt. I started mentoring young vets, guys fresh out, who didn't know how to transition. I knew that pain, that feeling of being lost. I wasn't going to let them stumble through the darkness like I did. And for the first time in years, I started writing again. Not texts, not angry emails, but real writing. Truth. Some of it about Madison. Most of it about rediscovering who I was without her. There were nights when the hurt would still sneak in. Like when I saw couples walking in the park, laughing. Or when I heard someone call out Maddie, and I flinched. But the difference now was, I didn't stay in those moments. I acknowledged them. Let them pass. Grief, after all, is love with nowhere to go. One morning, I woke up and realized something important. I hadn't thought about her in days. Not with anger. Not with sadness. Just not at all. That's when I knew my decision was the right one. Not just to erase her from my life, but to rewrite myself into it. Healing doesn't mean the past stays buried. Sometimes, it claws its way back up just when you start to feel whole again. And that's exactly what happened a month after I thought I'd finally put Madison behind me. It started with a text. Unknown number. Can we talk? It's important. M. I stared at it for a while. No emotion, just instinct. Deleted it. An hour later, another one. Please don't ignore me. I made a mistake. I know that now. I didn't respond. She wasn't reaching out because she missed me. She missed the version of herself that had access to my life. My success. My loyalty. My warmth. But then came the email. A long, dramatic monologue about how things fell apart with Doug. How he had been emotionally manipulative. How she'd lost herself. How she'd never stopped thinking about the man who loved her at her worst. I almost laughed. She was at her worst. And I did love her. But she wasn't thinking about me while she was crawling between satin sheets with a man old enough to be her father. The line that stuck out, though, was this. I saw you at the reunion and realized you've become everything I hoped you would. She didn't realize it, but that sentence said everything. She didn't love me. She loved the idea of who I'd become. She didn't miss the man who wrote her letters from combat zones. She missed the man who could now afford to buy a penthouse suite and forget she ever existed. Still, curiosity got the better of me. Not because I wanted to reconnect, but because I wanted to see her face when she realized I wasn't the same fool she left behind. So I agreed to meet her. One time. Public place. We chose a cafe downtown. Neutral ground. She walked in wearing a fitted beige coat, designer bag slung over one shoulder, pretending like she wasn't nervous. But I saw it. The tightness in her smile, the fake gloss in her eyes. Tyler, she said, sliding into the seat across from me. You look wow. I didn't compliment her back. Just nodded. You said it was important? She exhaled. I know I don't deserve your time, but I just needed to tell you I was wrong. About everything. About us. About you. I stayed silent. She went on. Doug, he wasn't who I thought he was. He made promises. Big ones. But he never delivered. Not the way you did. You always showed up. You always. Don't romanticize me. I interrupted. Calm, but firm. You didn't just leave me, Madison. You destroyed me. You erased me while I was risking my life overseas. You didn't just break a heart, you buried it. Her lips parted like she wanted to protest, but she didn't. I leaned forward. Let me guess, the lifestyle didn't match the fantasy? The beach weekends got old when the thrill wore off? Doug stopped calling you beautiful once the affair became routine. Tears welled in her eyes. I miss who I was when I was with you. That's the problem, I said. You should have valued who I was. But you never did. You just liked the reflection of yourself when I held you up. Silence. She reached across the table. I pulled my hand back. You don't get to miss me now, I said. She wiped her cheek and whispered, Do you hate me? I took a breath. No. Hating you would mean I still care. And with that, I stood up, left some cash on the table, and walked out. As I stepped into the cold evening air, I felt lighter. Not because I saw her cry, not because I got the last word, but because for the first time, I didn't need her to hurt for me to heal. She came back hoping I'd be the same man she left. She was right about one thing. I had become everything she hoped I'd be. But by the time she realized it, I was already too far ahead. After I walked out of that cafe, I didn't look back. Not at her, not at the past, not at the version of me that used to ache for her attention. Madison became what she always should have been, a lesson. And now, I was done learning from her. It's strange how clarity can hit after closure. You don't get it while you're breaking down in the shower or staring at old photos in the dark. It comes in the stillness that follows. That next morning, I opened the blinds in my apartment and felt the sun hit me like it hadn't in years. I didn't think of her. I thought about me. I grabbed my old notebook, the one I used to write in before deployment. It was dusty, the pages yellowed. I flipped to a fresh page and wrote 5 words in bold, sharp letters. She doesn't define you anymore. I started living by that. Every single day, my workouts got sharper. My business, bigger. I hired more vets. Men and women who needed structure, purpose, family. My company became more than just a job. It became a mission, a tribe. I wasn't just building wealth. I was building legacy. And something wild started happening. People respected me, genuinely. Not because of my money or my image, but because I had been through fire and didn't burn. I started getting calls to speak at events, to mentor, to share the story, not of the betrayal, but of the rebirth. And somewhere in all that momentum, I met someone new. Her name was Leah. No drama, no games, no pretending to be impressed by things I worked hard for, because she respected them. And more importantly, she respected me. I didn't tell her about Madison at first. I didn't want our foundation to be built on the ashes of a failed marriage. But over time, as things got real, I opened up, told her everything. The deployments, the lies, the voicemail, the betrayal, the pain. She didn't flinch. She just said, sounds like she tried to break a lion with words. That moment, that was the turning point. Because for the first time since it all went down, I didn't feel broken. I felt seen. And not by someone who needed me to be smaller so they could shine, but by someone who saw my scars as proof that I survived. One night, as Leah and I sat on the balcony of my place, sipping wine and watching the city lights, she asked me a question that froze me for a second. If you could go back and stop yourself from marrying her, would you? I thought about it. The late nights, the betrayal, the wait. And then I shook my head. No, I said, because that man she broke, he built the man you're sitting next to. She smiled, leaned her head on my shoulder. Then I should probably thank her. I chuckled. Nah, she doesn't get credit. Just the memory. And just like that, it was real. The new chapter wasn't about revenge, or ego, or proving her wrong. It was about becoming the version of myself she never deserved. But someone else finally did. It's funny how the worst thing that ever happened to you can become the best thing that ever changed you, if you let it. Looking back now, it's not the pain I remember most. It's the transformation. Madison didn't just break my heart. She broke the illusion I was living in. And once that shattered, I saw everything clearly. Who I was, what I deserved, and who I'd never be again. I used to think betrayal was the end of love. Now I know it's just the beginning of self-respect. The truth is, there was a version of me who would have taken her back, who would have accepted half apologies and sweet lies if she cried just hard enough. But that version of me is gone, buried in the trenches she mocked. The same trenches that built the man who now stands 10 stories above her, watching her sink while he rises. I don't hate Madison. I don't need to. Her punishment isn't my anger, it's my absence. She gets to wake up every morning knowing she threw away someone real for something temporary. She had loyalty and replaced it with lust. She had a future and sold it for flattery. And now, while I'm building something strong and sacred with someone new, Madison's out there, chasing validation like a stray chasing headlights. Let her run. Because here's the truth most men don't hear enough. It's not your fault she betrayed you. It's not because you weren't enough. It's because she wasn't built to hold what you were offering. Some women will see you as a foundation. Others will treat you like a stepping stone. The mistake is thinking they're the same. So here's my advice for every man who's been where I've been. 1. Don't ignore the signs. If she's acting different, if her stories don't line up, if your gut tells you something's off, trust it. Loyalty doesn't require secrecy. Love doesn't hide behind passcodes and late-night work events. 2. Don't beg for the truth. If you have to ask her 10 times, you already know the answer. Stop waiting for confessions. Start preparing for consequences. 3. Don't let betrayal define your worth. She didn't cheat because you lacked value. She cheated because she lacked character. Her choices reflect her, not you. 4. Don't seek revenge, level up. Your silence, your success, your peace, that's the revenge. Trust me, nothing haunts a liar more than seeing the one they tried to destroy become untouchable. 5. Don't carry shame that isn't yours. You loved her. You were faithful. You showed up. That's not weakness, that's strength. Don't regret being real in a world full of fakes. And finally, 6. Let her loss be your lesson, not your legacy. You're allowed to hurt, but don't stay there. Heal, grow, build. And when you rise, rise with grace, not bitterness. You owe it to yourself to be more than what she reduced you to. I know it feels like the end when it happens, but it's not. It's the beginning of the man you were always meant to become. And if you're reading this, if you're sitting in your own version of that dark room I sat in years ago, heart cracked wide open, hands shaking with betrayal, just know this. She didn't break you. She revealed you. Now it's your move.